Thank you very much. This is awesome. By the way, who's a Daylight customer in this audience? Because I'm one. Anyone else? All right. I use it by my bedside, and I highly recommend it. Thanks again. This is awesome to be here. This is my first time here. But it all started about 4 years ago. It was a drizzly night in Nashville, Tennessee. Show of hands real quick. Who's been to Nashville, Tennessee? Rock and roll. Good to see a lot of you folks. It gets hot in Nashville, a little humid as well in August. And I was super nervous. I didn't think anyone was going to be showing up. But one by one, people started showing up. Some skeptical, some excited. And then next thing you know, one guy comes up to me and is like, dude, I thought I was the only one here. I thought I was the only one that was into Bitcoin. My wife thinks I'm crazy, still thinks I'm crazy, but the fact that I'm not alone is a big thing. And that's the moment it really clicked for me. Because these physical interactions, these kind of meetups, these community spaces, I truly believe are the backbone for grassroots Bitcoin and freedom tech adoption. So over the next about 15 minutes or so, I'm going to share a number of stories that have led up to Bitcoin Park as it is today. So just from that small meetup, a number of things have happened. Now we've hosted, I don't know, hundreds of meetups. We've welcomed thousands of people to Nashville, Tennessee, and as well as now Austin, Texas, where we have Bitcoin Park Austin. What's been freaking amazing about this, and I want to spend a moment to give a huge shout out to individual members like Joe, who's in the audience right now, as well as all of our company members that financially support the park to make it sustainable, such that we can host meetups, workshops, and summits that are available and open to the community, which I'm going to talk about a little later on. Specifically, I'd like to give a shout out to 1031 on day 0 supporting the park. My co-founder, Matt Odell, who's Bitcoin Park would not exist without him. And then a number of other companies from Foundry, CleanSpark, Unchained, Fedi, Choya, and a special shout out to the Human Rights Foundation. We've done a number of things, and I'll mention a few of those stories as well. But again, it didn't start with this grand vision. It literally started with just a small meetup. And it was my friend Mills who actually came up to me and was like, hey, let's start a Bitcoin meetup. And we did. It started with the 20 people in August. Then the next meetup was about 50 or so people. Then it was about like 100 to 200 people that were flying in, driving in, scootering in, taking buses. Heck, we had a high school student take 2 bus rides just to come to our meetup. It was blowing my mind. And that's when Matt and I were like, hey, I think we need to get our own physical space. And now, still reluctantly, we did. And the rest of the story is nothing short of absolutely incredible. So I'm going to share a couple other stories, but these real physical spaces, these Bitcoin spaces, are a place for Bitcoiners to work, learn, collaborate, and build. I would highly recommend for you to go to your local meetup, as well as your local third space, and check them out if you can. So another story. This is in 2022. We hosted, are there any meetup organizers in the audience by the chance? Let's go. You guys are the real heroes right there. Everybody, buy them a beer, please. I don't know if they're free or not, but buy them a beer. We host this thing called Grassroots Bitcoin. We started our first one in 2022, where it's a meetup of meetup organizers. It was an awesome 2 days, but it's, as you know, even being an attendee at a conference, it could be absolutely exhausting. And so after 2 days, it's a Friday night, I'm laying in bed. I think at this point I have 2, maybe 3, maybe my 4th kid, I don't even remember at this point. My friend Casey Rodamore, was hosting the SF BitDevs, messaged me and said, hey, I'd love to host a Rust workshop at the park on that next day, Saturday morning. And I'm like, dude, no one's going to show up. So I was like, reluctantly, I said yes, and a whopping 6 people show up. It's me, Steve Myers, Casey Rodamore, a couple other BitDevs organizers, but one individual I had never met in my life, and his name was Matthew Ramsden. And so I'm telling this story because Matthew's a special person, and he was working on the block screen project that he started, and was really interested in the BDK project. Fast forward to today, One of the things that I've always wanted to host in Bitcoin Park, Nashville was a BitDevs, but I didn't have that technical expertise, or I'd be a LARP. But just from that meetup, just from those 6 people, Steve Myers and Matthew connected together, and they decided to host that meetup. And now today, they've hosted over 30 plus meetups, and it's been phenomenal in terms of the people. And I would argue it's the best BitDevs, arguably, in the world. So I'd highly recommend for you guys to check it out. But I could tell amazing stories. I mean, Joe's in the audience. He's the founder of Guardrail Mining. That started at the first Nashville Energy and Mining Summit that we hosted. There's Rob Hamilton from Anchor Watch that moved his entire team and really started going with Anchor Watch at Bitcoin Park. There's Joe Wood. There's, heck, Steve Myers, I mentioned, who's a contributor to BDK, who started the BDK Foundation there as well. I can name a number of amazing stories about members that are dentists, doctors, plumbers, retirees, and so on, that all care about Bitcoin. And I truly believe Bitcoin's this gravitational force that pulls people in, and it thrives in these communities. All right, so I'm going to tell one other story. By the way, Bitcoin Park Nashville, please come check it out. And then also now Bitcoin Park Austin. But the power of these physical spaces is just quite surreal to me. Has anyone solo mined a Bitcoin block by chance? You have? Fuck yeah. Okay, I'm gonna follow you, dude. Honestly, I was expecting 0 hands in the air. I want you to come up and tell your story after mine. But yeah, so there's 2 of us then, me and you. I'll tell you another wild story. So my friend Econo Alchemist and I, we do a podcast called Pod 256. We started trolling that we wanted to dismantle the proprietary Bitcoin mining empire. And so we're going to do that. And we got our friend Scott from the BitX project involved, and we decided we wanted to host a telehash. All right, so a telehash is like one of those telethons for the old people in the room, like myself, who's 40 plus, will know what that is, where you're calling in and donating money. Well, we wanted to have hash rate donated to us. I'm going to tell the whole story here, which is before that January night, block height 881423, which fundamentally changed my life, the month before, we had 0 committed hash rate. So Eco and I and Scott are in Africa, of all places. We're in Nairobi, Kenya. Eric Hirschman from Gridless, shout out to Nairobi, let's go, was kind enough to invite us on a safari. It's 10 of us. We're sulking away. We're like, we're going to be laughed at, and it's going to be great. We're going to have like 3 bit axes pointed to us during our telehash. But then there was this one gentleman named Marshall Long who was overhearing our conversation and said, hey, I'll donate 1 exahash. We're like, 1 exahash? Come again? I don't know how much hash rate you had pointed towards your solo mining operation, but for us, that was like our dream of having 1 exahash pointed to us. And still, the odds, does anyone know what the odds are of just having approximately 1 exahash for about an 8-hour period of time of mining a block? Well, it's about 1 in 1,000. So at block height 881423, we solo mined a Bitcoin block at Bitcoin Park. And why I tell that story, it's not only that's the pinnacle of my Bitcoin career and everything is going to be downhill from that moment in time. That's not me being self-deprecating, that's me being facts. That's just going to be the best moment of my life. It all didn't happen just magically. It actually happened because of the number of meetups, workshops, and summits that we were hosting. So going back to that grassroots Bitcoin summit that I mentioned, a gentleman named Alex Gladstein, who's the Chief Strategy Officer at the Human Rights Foundation, he was kind enough to come and deliver a keynote during that grassroots Bitcoin event. And that was his first time at Bitcoin Park in Nashville. And he said, Rod, we should partner together and do one at the global level, where we invite community activists, organizers, Bitcoin developers, and so on together. And now this will be our 3rd year in a row hosting the Global Bitcoin Summit, which has just been super awesome. That's where I met Farida, who organizes the Africa Bitcoin Conference. Fast forward to the Nashville Energy and Mining Summit, the one that Joe founded Guardrail Mining at, and we've been running that summit now for the 3 years in a row. That's where I met Eric Hirschman, who's the co-founder and CEO of Gridless Compute. He flew in all the way from freaking Nairobi, Kenya, just for that 150-person summit in January. he mentioned, hey, you should come out to a safari with us. And it's all these different interactions that would not have taken place without the physical space or a physical meetup for us all to get together. So without meeting Farida, without meeting Eric, without being invited to go to Africa and meeting Marshall on a chance encounter, and then getting that hash rate, it's like that Dumb and Dumber quote, so you're saying there's a chance. Yeah, and so there was a chance of us hitting a block at block 881423. Great. So, by the way, I recommend solo mining, and I don't know if you guys were here for Lars's presentation earlier today. That is one of the coolest initiatives that we're working on at the 256 Foundation. So what does this all mean? It means that there's just so much more to do in this space. I mean, there's so many things that we could be doing. I think it's imperative that we support these meetups, support these workshops, and support these summits. And it's really a point that local spaces do matter. They're launch pads for innovation, conversations, and real Bitcoin adoption. I appreciate all the online conversations. I appreciate the Bitcoin treasury companies and different innovations and companies that are starting. But at the end of the day, it's individuals like Orange Surf in the back with working on the mempool project. And Joe, I've mentioned a number of times before. It's a number of us collectively supporting our local community and really driving grassroots Bitcoin and freedom tech adoption. So what can you do? I believe there's a lot you can do in this space. And real quick, just a plug for Bitcoin Park. I'd love for you guys to visit. You can go to bitcoinpark.com. We are going to make an incredible number of investments to support local communities as well as grassroots freedom tech and Bitcoin adoption and education. I think that's a big missing piece right now. And you're going to see a lot more come from us. I mentioned Bitcoin Park Nashville, Bitcoin Park Austin. We have a number of amazing meetups, from Lit Devs on Monday, ABDC, which is the Austin Bitcoin Design Club meetup that happens typically every second Tuesday of every month, to Austin Bitcoin Club on the second Wednesday of every month. Now we have a new AI meetup that Justin Moon and Anthony Ronning are hosting, to our Austin Bit Devs and more. Same thing is happening in Nashville across the way. So please, whether you need a bike, walk, scoot, take a freaking paraglide into Nashville or Austin, we'd love to see you. But I'll leave you with three things. One is three things that you can help support your local meetup or your local third space. The first one, show up. Just be part of the energy and participate. It's the simplest thing you can do. RSVP to the meetup page. Come and show up and help. Help with the chairs. Help with the refreshments. Just help out your local meetup organizer. Or heck, if you don't even have a meetup, start one yourself. You just never know. Going back to that Matthew story, it changed the trajectory of my life just with that one Bit Devs. Two, financially support them. If you have the means and see value in that organizer or that leader and you believe in them, support them financially. It goes such a long way. We need these to be self-sustaining on their own and not just be grant-based or donation-based. It needs to have some economic model in order to thrive over a long period of time, in my opinion. And then three is just really about showing up, being part of it, and just being focused on Bitcoin. Being focused on Bitcoin, there's a lot of noise out there that you can just be distracted by. And that's not really three. I lost my train of thought, but now I know what three is. Three is actually share with your network. So you guys have insane networks as well. My favorite social media, believe it or not, because I'm old, is, can anyone guess what my favorite social media is? Phone number close. What'd you say? Email? Email is the correct answer. I love email. And so just forwarding along or sending an email to your friends, family, colleagues, that one meetup could seriously change the trajectory of your life as well as your local community's life. Because you never know, that one meetup, that one conversation, that one handshake could just be the start of something you've never imagined before. And for me, that's been Bitcoin Park. So thank you very much.
Secure your BTC Prague 2026 ticket at the lowest possible price now.